Yeah.
Thank you for breaking the ice, sir. And Paige, thank you for helping to continue to break the ice. Okay, so we spent some time thinking about the journey. Sorry, yeah. Hold on. There you go. Okay, great. So we spent some time thinking about the journey, the way that McKinsey was going to describe it to you this morning. And we wanted to try to draw some connections to the way we might articulate what the journey looks like for a consumer. We did it at a fairly high level. We're going to look at some examples too, because we know we have several different market segments represented here, or market verticals represented here. But we wanted to put it in a kind of a Google context, so we could then relate it to digital marketing behaviors. Okay, so obligatory slide. Okay, you guys know this. You're concerned with it. Time spent with, this is a macro statistic across all consumers, more time with digital than with TV. TV is not going away. Paige, you asked the question just now about where does TV fit in. You know, critically important because viewership is not going down, okay? However, time spent with digital is absolutely going up at the expense of several other media platforms, but not at the expense of TV. But let's look at some other interesting statistics as they relate to health specifically. 156 million people in the United States are online right now and in need of a health solution. Okay, this could be a wide variety of health solutions. This could be weight loss. This could be search for vitamins and supplements. They could be experiencing an illness, having that trigger moment Rebecca talked about. Could be fitness-oriented search, but that's every other American, right? Now, I know you're all glued and focused on me, so it's no one in this room, but for every one of you in this room, there's another person right now walking down the street at their home, at their office, who has some sort of health concern and is engaging that health concern on the web. It's a pretty powerful stat. You know, the stats we've heard from a couple of you about the role of mobile now, for instance, the smartphone. It's devices and access that are creating this scenario where it is possibly the preeminent platform by which people are gathering their health information. So we did, do you guys know Google Consumer Surveys? Don't say that too quickly. Google Consumer Surveys. Do you know what they are? Does everyone know what they are? It's okay, I'm going to tell you anyway. So I'm sure one of you doesn't know what they are. Google Consumer Surveys are essentially this really inexpensive survey tool that you can use to do real quick directional surveys for feedback, okay? I'm not going to suggest to you that it's the most scientific survey you're ever going to do. It's going to be a function of how you ask the questions and the response that you get and how you screen the questions. But we've done some surveys coming into this meeting today to provide you this type of directional information. And we're able to do a survey and within 3 days get 2,000 responses, depending on how we screen it, okay? So it's legit in terms of providing insights, okay? Yeah. Sure.
One question I have is
yeah.
This year
yeah. So I'm going to have to channel Jeff Bezos right now, I guess, right? Here's what I think. Okay, so I wonder what's even appropriate for me to say. They're over-investing, right? They continue to over-invest in long-term success, right? The types of things that they're investing in terms of infrastructure, in terms of R&D, are creating stress on the profit model, but the fact that they're not particularly profitable right now does not seem to affect their valuation, right? Because they're building for the long term. They're doing the research, and the infrastructure isn't just the kind of traditional retail distribution infrastructure, but it's the infrastructure around data, right? They have more data about consumers than probably anybody, I'd say, maybe except for us. This is where I don't want to say anything that gets me in trouble. But it's the investment that's why I think the profit doesn't exist there. It's everyday investment. And actually, I think if you listen to the earnings calls, you'll hear that type of talk. I think, frankly, if you listen to our earnings calls, you'll hear some of that kind of talk about its investment to set up for the long haul, because they understand and have understood for a long time that the retail experience, 10 years from now is going to be completely different than it is today, which is completely different than it was 10 years ago, and they're going to be set up to do it. I mean, they're investing in drones to deliver packages. I mean, that's, they don't even know, we don't even know if that's legal, right? If that's going to pass FAA regulations, but they're investing in it to be ready to do it when no one else is. So I think it's a function of investment against the future, So anyway, we use these Google consumer surveys to get quick insights or quick data points about market behaviors and consumer behaviors. So we asked folks, what's their go-to source for health and wellness information? In this survey that we did, and we had 1,000 responses to this, 43% of them said that some sort of internet-based resource is their go-to source for health and wellness information. Okay, this is not a question for a prize. Would anybody like to tell me for what percent the answer was doctors? Take a guess, somebody. Someone said 10%. It was 14%. 14% said their go-to resource for health and wellness information is a doctor. 43%, when we added up all of this, so WebMD, Google, things like that, they added up to 43%, okay? That's, again, talk about 10 years ago, today, 10 years from now, fundamental change, okay? And the word cloud that you see behind the stat is a pretty representative selection of all of those different go-to sources that they use. My wife, Google, WebMD, Men's Health, my mom, Walgreens, okay? How does Walgreens show up on that? Okay? Well, I mean, we giggle and it's okay. But that's what I want to talk about a little bit right now, because if you put this in the context of the consumer journey, there are some companies that are doing interesting, innovative things at either that trigger point or at the think point or at the do point or at the bond point that McKinsey describes as the consumer journey.
Can I just I had an interesting insight from a doctor recently.
Our gynecological surgeon. Yeah, no, that he says that when he's he's talking to a patient, many times before that patient leaves the room, she's on mobile looking to see whether what he told her was correct and what other options are out there. So when you're talking about 14% are looking to their doctor for go-to advice, it's not even go-to advice anymore. The internet is now confirming what the doctor is saying while the doctor is saying it in the room, which I think is really interesting too, and shows the importance of mobile.
Yeah. So we took the McKinsey key consumer journey points and took a little liberty and renamed one of them. And we've organized it around feel, think, do, and bond, okay? The feel point is trigger, right? It's that stimulus, something that happens or something that you've noticed or something that somebody tells you where you realize it's time to do some sort of action as it relates to your health. The think portion is essentially consideration, analysis, comparison. Do is shopping, conversion, some sort of connection with the marketer. Bond is the post-purchase loyalty concept, hopefully moving somebody to not just convert once, but then convert more than once. And how do we engage a patient or a customer or a consumer differently over time to make sure they become a regular customer and an advocate of ours? So we went a step further. All right, and because of the pervasiveness of the web, because of the immediacy of the web, we believe that there are three expectations that consumers have that are table stakes for a marketer to be able to succeed. in this type of world. The first one is the concept of infinite access. What this means, or what we believe this means, and we can tell you what it means because we're making up the terms here today. Infinite access is this ability to have immediate awareness and information at your disposal, okay? No matter where I am, no matter what time it is, no matter who I am, I can get access to information that's helpful to me as I start this health journey, okay? So this is an important piece. We're going to look at some examples I'll kind of preview this a little bit. We're going to look at examples of marketers and what they're doing in the areas of feel, think, do, and bond, and how they're delivering on infinite access, or how they're delivering on personalization. This sounds pretty obvious, but again, this is a table stakes expectation of consumers. What do I mean by personalization? I mean that they expect an experience that where either they can curate content, activities, action, products for themselves, or you will curate something totally relevant for them. Okay? Personalization. Last is instant gratification. Okay? Relates particularly to the first point here of infinite access, but instant gratification means I see it, I like it, I want it, where is it? I have to have it now. We asked the question about Amazon. In a couple of years, they take it to the extreme because you buy it and the drone shows up at your front door, okay? Today, we have to wait a little bit longer than that, but many, many consumers, and in fact, more and more consumers, don't want to wait much longer than that, okay? They want it at the front door now, okay? These are the key table stakes expectations that consumers have developed today in the digital world, okay? So, what's the first brand that comes to mind when you think of health and wellness? Again, Google Consumer Survey. Again, roughly 1,000 responses, not totally scientific, but we just wanted to, again, get some indicators, some pointers here on what consumers think about health and wellness and what are the first brands they think of. You can, obviously, like another word cloud, size of word indicates relative popularity of that brand in response to this question. But it's interesting. Some of you will see your own names up there. There's no prompting, right? The question was asked exactly the way you see it. But there are other things up there as you think about health and wellness. Why would they come up? Band-Aid, okay? What are they doing to be coming up as a reasonably frequently answered marketer for this question? They're doing something, okay? Whether or not it's, dozens and dozens of years of being a very popular, well-known product, or they're doing some other things as it relates to delivering on the table stakes in feel, think, do, and bond, they're doing something, okay? Humana. I mean, I would say most people, you wouldn't even expect that most people know the name of that brand, yet it comes up, okay? Interesting, okay? Nothing to kind of plan, our next year's marketing. We don't want to build our next year's marketing plan around this, but interesting, right? Again, Walgreens pops up. What's Walgreens doing? Actually, we didn't get to it in the McKinsey presentation, but they were going to refer to Walgreens in one of their examples, as I think as it relates to prescription adherence. Right? Is that right? We'll come back to it? Okay. I'm going to use an example for them as well, okay, because they are doing interesting things. And I'm going to show you them first, okay? I mean, these are not the most innovative things necessarily. Some of the things you'll see are pretty innovative, but they're investing. They're making a play. They're starting to get they're understanding what this journey looks like today. So in this particular case, Walgreens has they have pharmacy chat. Okay. So again, think about feel, think, do, bond. Feel. Something's not right. I'm not sure what it is. I don't want to go to the emergency room. I'm not going to call my doctor. I did a quick search. Maybe I'll go. Oh, you know what? Walgreens has pharmacy chat. I can engage a Walgreens pharmacist through the chat and take the next step in feel, right? Understand exactly what this symptom I'm experiencing is and identify the condition, okay? It's also, it's the ultimate in personalization. Maybe not the way I described it, but it's one-on-one, right? It's face-to-face. It's real-time. It's instant access, right? Or infinite access. It's real-time. It's when I need it, where I need it, whenever I need it. Okay, so Walgreens is investing in this. I mean, they're a company, they're hammering it out with CVS. CVS is, doing amazing things, taking cigarettes off the shelf to elevate their image and grow their business. And then they have the Minute Clinics as a whole new extension of their business. What are these guys going to do to compete with that type of bold statement in the marketplace? Well, they may not make exactly the same bold statements, but they understand what the journey is, and as it relates to feel, they're inserting themselves immediately at the beginning of the journey, right? And it's a chance to own a consumer who they capture through this pharmacy chat. I'm going to move to think, okay? The number, 24 billion, okay? There have been 24 billion health-related searches in the United States this year so far, okay? Enormous number, okay? And those searches are occurring across a number of different categories again, right? So when I spoke earlier about those 156 million Americans who are engaged in some sort of activity today on the web that relates to their health, I refer to a number of categories. These categories, they're largely the same. It could be weight loss. It could be a medical condition. It could be fitness. It could be vitamins and supplements search, 24 billion. Now, that's a big number, right? But that's 7% larger than last year. So last year was a really, really big number. It's hard to grow big numbers like that year over year. And yet that's what's happening because more and more consumers doing more and more of this on the web. So 24 billion searches. And if you talk about both the trigger and think, that point when you start to get into assessment, comparison, consideration, search is the window into that. It's the portal into all of these other activities where you engage content more deeply. And that search is happening on a number of devices, and more, it's happening on mobile devices. Okay? I don't know if we've done this for each of you, but we do something called, we can measure something we call the Mo moment, and if we haven't done it for you, we should. But it basically will tell you for your company, for your market segment, what is either what was the date or what do we anticipate the date to be when mobile searches in your category will surpass desktop searches. Okay, to give you an indication of how prevalent and relevant mobile is for each of you. So thinking about think, that is the consideration area, there's a number of different ways that people are doing this. There's a number of really interesting content providers and creators out there who are providing information for individuals to consider things. I happen to find this site, Mind Body Green, okay? You may or may not know it. I don't think that they're particularly representative of anything brilliant, but it's a site that provides this type of information. But we got two very interesting takeaways from this. We used Hitwise to look at how much of their traffic, this is a traditional web site, right? Mind Body Green, yoga, healthy living, fitness, diet. 67% of their traffic in the last month is mobile traffic, okay? 67% is mobile traffic. We believe that all of us in this room, some more than others, us included, are under-indexed in playing in the think area, right? That point when people are in consideration. We might be really good at the beginning of the journey when there's a trigger and they do a search for something, right? We might be really good towards the back end when it's time to convert and maybe even maintain some loyalty with them, but we're not doing enough in this think area. And we think a big part of that is because we're not engaging them properly on the mobile platforms, right? You mentioned you're vexed by the current trends in mobile. We all have a mobile strategy of some kind, we think and we hope, but are we really leveraging it at the think point, or at the different touch points, Paul, as you said, of the journey? Here's a case where, the people, the subscribers of Mind Body Green are mostly engaging this content through a mobile device. Now, this is part of the kind of awareness piece that we talked about earlier as the table stakes, but there's also instant gratification, right? How to manage stress with meditation. There's the ability to buy something right on the site. 4 modules, 3 sessions, 37 minutes of online streaming video. Okay, I come here, I see the content, I'm moved, I see it, I like it, I want it now, but it's all becomes part of a total digital experience now. I can buy streamed videos now to carry this one step further and actually treat myself through I don't mean treat myself as in a present, but I mean treat myself to help address some of the health issues that have been vexing me and that I'm trying to deal with on this site. Okay. One, I don't know how many of you have seen this has anybody seen the Thai anti-smoking campaign and what they've done? Okay, so part of me, did you raise your hand, Nora? Not fair. Okay. It moved me when I saw it. But again, in terms of thinking, when people are thinking, there's a chance to disrupt, okay, the process. And Rebecca mentioned that before. There's a chance to interrupt, there's a chance to disrupt, and there's a chance to move people. If you know that they're in the think process, if you do interject yourself to them, or interject yourself to the process when they're thinking, there's an opportunity to create material and significant action. This is an award-winning anti-smoking campaign that ran in Thailand. I show it because I think a lot of what they did was to attempt to disrupt people when they were in the think process and get them thinking much different thoughts in a very compelling way.
ไม่ดีรู้เปล่าสูบแล้วเป็นทั้งมะเร็งปอดโรคโป่งพองเส้นเลือดในสมองแตกไม่ดีแล้วพี่ดูดทำไมล่ะคะ
I just thought it was an incredibly compelling piece of creative, but to create thinking and intercepting consumers at places, and obviously I'm not going to go through the whole media plan with you, but when people were engaged in web activities around thinking about their health in particular, of course this was delivered in other ways. Oh, the mic. Okay, got it. Really understand what a consumer journey is and insert themselves into that consumer journey at the point of think with some powerful thinking creative. Okay. Why do I have nothing happening? Want to give me a hand on why I'm not moving forward? Don't know what I've done. Okay. More Google consumer surveys around the area of do. Thank you, Jamie. 2 Google consumer surveys. Here are results from 2 of them. 56% of consumers told us they would change their doctor if that doctor did not enable them to make online appointments. Think about that for a second, okay? I mean, think about a generation ago, doctors were gods. You did not question your doctor, okay? Your doctor knew everything and generally told you so. But today, the majority of consumers in this particular Google consumer survey said, I will change my doctor if he or she will not be convenient to me and enable me to make online appointments, okay? Again, from a do perspective, incredibly powerful. Again, speaking to the gap in mobile, okay? If the doctors are not addressing this, they are losing patients, they are losing customers in essence. 20%, okay? Different Google consumer survey. We asked consumers if they would be willing, or 20% told us in this Google consumer survey that if a health or wellness provider did not offer them the opportunity to buy the product or service, no matter how much they liked it, online, they would pass on buying that product, okay? So under-indexing in mobile, not grabbing people at the point when they do, when they buy. Remember, the do component of the journey is the conversion action component of the journey. All of you, I'm sure, have the ability to convert online, okay? But does it deliver on all of the other components that we talked about? Access, personalization, instant gratification. This is Glow's Pregnancy Manager application. Okay, I don't know how many of you know it, or have used it, but again, it delivers on almost all of those table stakes expectations that we described around ability to use anytime, anywhere, totally personalized. I know the writing's kind of small, but you can really customize it to your particular place in having a child, whether it's pre-pregnancy, mid-pregnancy, or where you are in your pregnancy. So totally customizable and personalized, in addition to providing other types of networking and social capabilities, and then the ability eventually to go out and buy to get product. Okay, again, right? The ability to engage in some form of conversion type activity and get exposure to marketers in very different ways. This is called Charity Miles. Have any of you seen Charity Miles before? Okay, really interesting offering from this company, Charity Miles, to create consumer activity and consumer connection, but also get a very specific action out of it, in this case around a public good or human good.
Charity Miles is a free iPhone and Android app that empowers you to earn money for charity while running, biking, or walking. Swipe the screen to select a charity and choose whether you want to run, bike, or walk. Bikers earn 10 cents per mile. Runners and walkers earn 25 cents per mile. Then press start and hit the streets. As you run, bike, or walk, the app will track your distance, and you'll earn money to help your charity change the world. When you're finished, we ask you to accept your sponsorship by taking a moment to share your achievements. We ask this for 3 reasons. First, Charity Miles is not just about raising money. It's also about making a statement, raising awareness, and showing your commitment to a cause. Second, you're a sponsored athlete now, so please thank your sponsor. We can't change the world without their generous support. And third, to have a big impact, we need lots of people to get involved. So please invite your friends, because changing the world is a team sport.
So there's a couple of different levels of doing here, right? So first of all, let me explain exactly how this works, right? Charity Miles has selected a number of charities to which you can give money based on your participation. They also have a number of major corporate sponsors who pay the participants. J&J, Humana, Kenneth Cole are 3 that I can remember. Okay, and actually 2 of those I think showed up on our most trusted brands list. Again, I'm not going to say that this should take any form of the credit for that, but they're finding ways to interject themselves into people's health and wellness journey. In this particular case, a walk, run, or a bike ride, or their participation in improving their own health, and engaging them at that point when they are in that journey. Okay, funny. I went to the website yesterday. Jamie and I went to the website yesterday, and they had FAQs. And one of the questions in the FAQs, and it must have been because people asked this, the question was, "Do I get credit for driving?" The answer was obviously and clearly a no. But there are some people who only go so far to give money to charity, I guess. Apollo Hospitals. This is an entirely different. Well, I'm not going to say it's entirely different, but this is a hospital system in India. Okay, and this is essentially an ER app, right? An emergency department or emergency room app, but it's far more. So to find your, to get yourself to the ER is one thing, right? You can find the nearest emergency room at an Apollo hospital where you can get treatment where you need treatment immediately. But you load into this app other things like who's my emergency contact? Who are my family members? What are my travel plans for it looks at what your travel plans are for the next week, so it'll tell you where the nearest ER is. So again, for Apollo, and emergency rooms are in many cases one of the top 3 or 4 profit generators for hospitals or revenue generators for hospitals. So you want to provide means and ease for individuals to show up at your ER, right? Apollo knows that as a hospital system, so they provide an app that will hopefully drive more people to their ER than to the competitor's ER. But it's not just for that. It has a consumer value of making sure that you know where the nearest ER is, that your family member can show up and join you there if they're not there to take you there. There are a number of different features associated with the application that make it a much deeper and meaningful experience. So not only does it become critical to the do part, right, the show up at the emergency room, but it also probably has the capability of adding bond as well, right? It's not just that they got me here, but they got me here, and they got me here in a way that makes me feel really good about the service that they're providing and made it a good experience for my family. Okay, this in fact might be the opposite of health. This is a recently introduced app from Taco Bell, okay? But I think there might be some lessons we can take from this, okay? I'm not sure what all of them are yet. I just learned about this app 2 days ago. We actually had, you mentioned Digitas earlier, Rebecca. We had Digitas's chief strategy officer in our office in Cambridge 2 days ago, and he told us about this app that they designed for Taco Bell. And this, I think, is completely new and different for QSRs, for quick service restaurants, okay? You can walk into a Taco Bell, and you can pick from one of the items on the board. Right? That's it. You're limited to that. Taco Bell is now enabling people who download the app to actually create, for select stores, a custom meal. Okay? So that you can, and if you look at I know this is small, but to add Baja sauce costs an additional 30 cents. To add nacho cheese sauce is an additional 30 cents. You can totally customize your taco or your quesadilla. I can honestly tell you I've never been in a Taco Bell, so I'm assuming that's what they serve. I'm not going to lie and say I haven't been in a McDonald's or a Wendy's, because I have, but I haven't been in a Taco Bell. But think about this as a way. So first of all, the experience of being able to custom order, but then the ability to do it at the time that you want to do it and have it ready in the store for pickup when you arrive. Okay, so for those of you who have a retail component to what you do, and that's the most obvious thing that comes to mind, I've been trying to brainstorm with Jamie and with myself to figure out what's the application for all of you guys. I don't know what it is, but in terms of instant gratification, at the do phase of a journey, in this case a QSR journey to buy a taco and a Coke, amazing in the capability that they are providing for the consumer. As you try to sell vitamins, is there an application? I don't know. Is it some sort of new ordering paradigm that you use to help people order? I don't know. For the weight loss and meal supplement folks in the room, is there a different customization idea that this springs? And I don't think it necessarily means it has to be in the form of an app, but it gives you ways to think about how to customize an experience for a consumer. Yeah, Paul? Okay, can you pass this to Paul? Thanks. No, we're in a no judgment zone.
Yeah, so like I was saying, don't judge me. Even though you are missing out if you've never been to a Taco Bell. It's a real treat. It's birthday dinner for me. But number one, it uses GPS to decide when to start your food. So you can order it a half an hour before you arrive. You can check out using their app, so you can already pay for it. And when you're 5 minutes away, they start making it so it's hot when you get there. So that's actually 2 of the 3. The third one is how they roll this out to market, which was extreme. Like a ton of foresight and very, very risky by Digitas, and that's that they shut down their Twitter and their Facebook accounts and said the only way you can talk to me is through the app now. And I just thought that was absolutely profound and way out of the box.
Right. So I think that's that last piece is really important, because while I've shown you, I think, 3 apps in a row, this is not the app show. This is not just about apps. There's also the really important issue to consider from a strategy perspective of how do you make people aware of the app? How do you distribute the app? How do you get the app downloaded? How do you keep ongoing and regular engagement with the app, okay, which starts to get to the deeper and deeper into the do and bond piece. So this isn't meant at all to be the app show, okay? The apps are showing you, are illustrative of insertion into the 4 points of the journey and whether or not they deliver on access, personalization, and instant gratification. Let's see, I think we're doing fine on time. Show you this. Many of you are probably aware of this one, but again, in terms of personalization,
there's remarkable data showing that movement equals health. Movement equals optimal performance, both on a physical and a mental basis. If you sit for 5 hours, it is equivalent on a health basis to smoking a pack and a quarter of cigarettes.
For Nike, who's made movement its mission, that was eye-opening. They studied data from millions of people and learned something really interesting. Lots of people are active in short bursts, then sedentary for long stretches, probably stuck behind a desk. That's why they came up with Win the Hour. Win the Hour is a remarkably simple new feature that gets people moving consistently throughout the day. You move for 5 minutes in a row, you win the hour. Win a few hours in a row, you get special rewards. Been sedentary for too long, you get a gentle push.
And movement isn't just about the hour run or going to the gym. It's movement over time. And it's a very powerful statement, and it goes back on decades of medical data.
Of course, moving with intensity is important also. Start a session by pressing a button on the band before you play basketball, go to the gym, or just take a walk. And you can record how hard you've worked and which activities earned you the most Nike fuel. Optimal performance is all about movement, and Win the Hour is encouraging millions to move more every day.
So again, if you want to look to a brand for inspiration, and I don't mean health inspiration, but I mean marketing inspiration, Nike is a brand to look at. Now, we say this a lot, and I'm reluctant to say it sometimes because, oh yeah, Nike has X number of hundreds of millions of dollars with which to market. I get that. So it's not the same. We don't all have the same opportunities to do things the way they do things, but the way that they have moved to digital, the way that they've moved to become a technology company and a digital company is very compelling and really informing. They've become a technology company and a digital company as much as they've become a sneaker and health company. If you look at the comments that they have made over the last couple of years in terms of the role of traditional media and how much they will no longer invest, though they of course invest in traditional media, but less and less, and move more towards experiential marketing, like this is extraordinarily compelling. This is all about bond, right? With the brand, right? It's personalized to me, and it delivers, right? It's personalized to me. It's instant gratification. I've won. Right? I can check my own progress against my goals. It delivers on all of those through a technology piece, right? Think about what that means in terms of how quickly they can get someone, how much they have someone being active and how quickly they need that next pair of sneakers, right? Okay, I don't think I'm going to play this one because I think we're pushing the time to the edge here. Who knows who George St. Pierre is? Who is he? UFC fighter. He's become a fitness guru, okay? And he's essentially partnered with a company where he provides great workout videos that you can model for yourself, but he's using technology for personalization. They've essentially used a form of almost like machine learning and tracking to figure out which of his workouts you do, so that they can customize a program for you and predictively create programs for you from a UFC fighter. Okay, but again, identifying the absolute dominance of web as part of the experience, particularly video, to start to manage my exercise program and my fitness program and create a winning platform for that. I think the last one I'm going to show you is the Mayo Clinic. Again, it's an app, but in terms of personalization, in terms of instant gratification, in terms of access, the Mayo actually has a really, they were early on in creating a social media group that then rolled into a lot of interesting applications and technology adoption at the Mayo Clinic. So if you look at this, it's a place where your EHR can live. It's a place where your appointments can live. But more than that, it's wayfinding. I don't know if any of you have never been to Rochester, Minnesota, there's really only one reason to go. It's to go to the Mayo Clinic. But once you're there, it's quite an impressive, massive, and in some cases, intimidating facility. So just finding your way around can be very difficult. So there's wayfinding or mapping capabilities in this app. There's also, if you think about it, oftentimes people who go there have a family member who goes with them, right? But again, you're in Rochester, Minnesota. What does your family member do when you're in for treatment, right, or when you're resting in Rochester, Minnesota? Well, there's information about activities in this app around Rochester, Minnesota, so that your family member can spend the time without boredom or perhaps without sadness or worry while you're being treated. So really interesting work early on by these guys to provide this and provide this kind of bond-type experience with the patients' families, and also deliver on access, right? All information that would be necessary for you as a patient or a family member of a patient, as well as instant gratification in terms of access to your own patient records and things like this. So again, it's an app, okay, but it's understanding the patient experience. It's understanding the patient experience before, during, and after the visit, right? Actually knowing that this exists could be something that helps close someone as a patient for the Mayo Clinic, right? But particularly this was particularly powerful in the bond area. So who do you believe is the most trusted brand in the health and wellness category? Another Google consumer survey. So again, why does someone like Walgreens show up there? Okay, they're showing up there because they're doing interesting things. We might see the example from McKinsey about adherence, innovation and adherence. They're intersecting people at the field piece and providing instant gratification. Other brands up there, some of what Mayo Clinic shows up as a most trusted brand in health and wellness. Granted, the Mayo Clinic has a wonderful reputation as a hospital, but the question was health and wellness. The Mayo Clinic is showing up as one of the most trusted brands in this Google consumer survey from a health and wellness perspective, not cancer treatment, not orthopedic surgery. So really interesting to see the brands that are showing up here and tracking it back to some of the examples. Nike, health and wellness. Sneaker brand, fitness brand? No, health and wellness brand. So I think that these Google consumer surveys bear out or actually provide good feedback and confirmation that this type of activity, providing awareness,